Okay, she spins around there, but all I'm doing is holding pressure on the leash to stop to go back the other direction. Hey everybody, Ethan here with Standing Stone, and today's video is about leash work. Now, mind you, I did not say healing because I don't do a lot with healing with little itty bitty puppies like this, but it is still important to build some leash manners, and it's an extremely common question, okay? We do not do as much leash work out of lack of necessity. We live out here in the middle of nowhere, so our puppies, though they do travel with us some and do have to be comfortable on a leash, we don't have to walk them daily for exercise or things of that nature. They can do off-leash work on a regular basis. Now, that has prevented us from putting out a video like this in the past, but it's become common enough that I've explained this type of drill to enough people that I thought, you know what? You should just make a video. You have a puppy about that age right now, which is dual. She is 16 weeks old, and it's very common for us to hear from folks, I'm struggling with my 12 to 16 or 20-week-old puppy on leash. We go for walks, and they pull a lot, and they don't pay attention, and all of these wonderful things. So what I have here is a check cord, so a longer leash. You can use a standard leash, but you need a little more length for this to really work. And we're going to do what I'm going to call a 180-degree leash drill. It's a very simple concept, and this is more what I would recommend for folks to be doing. Instead of saying, let's go for a long leash walk today, I would say, let's stay on our sidewalk or in our backyard and work on a drill like this. It does not take very long for dogs to be, for you to see progress with your dog, and ultimately it's going to help not perfect perfect healing, but it is going to help them to understand a little bit better how to have some leash manners, do a little less pulling, and ultimately lead you in the direction to healing, which would be a dog walking completely, perfectly by your side as an end goal when your dog develops, okay? So how this drill works, it's very simple. We're just going to walk back and forth. Now, let's say I want to start with her walking by my side. Good girl, let's go. And she's all over the place, right? She's left, she's right. She doesn't have any essentially leash manners, and it seems a little goofy to start with. We're going to shorten this up, and we're just going to continue to walk back and forth, 180 degrees. If she falls behind, we'll be encouraging. Come on. Good girl. There you go. And we're going to walk basically without paying much attention to her. Back and forth, about 10, 15, 20 paces, whatever you've got room for. And the dog is essentially coming with us. Try not to give them a lot of slack. Sometimes you may need a little bit, but I've shortened this down to about a 6-7 foot leash. They really start to be pulling out ahead of you. Change directions. This is ultimately going to help her to understand she needs to pay attention to which direction I'm going, which you can see a little bit already that she's already started to kind of stick with me with minimal encouragement or minimal communication. It's just, I have a leash that she's attached to, okay? Now, if your dog is surging out a lot, you can use this to, come on. You can use this to work on bracing just a little bit. I don't know if that cut off probably or borderline. You would brace just a little bit to pull against her so they don't jerk on the leash out of your hands. We're not pulling a lot against her, or not tugging constantly on a leash. If she wants to pull that way, we can just turn around and go this way. As she starts to figure this out, good, come on. Okay, she spins around there, but all I'm doing is holding pressure on the leash to stop, to go back the other direction. If you want to lead, we're going to change directions and go the other way. And there you go. Come back to me. We'll keep going this way. But walking back and forth, you making 180-degree switches. You can see a little bit of her starting to kind of figure out, whoop, come on, which direction I am turning, which direction I am changing. And there's though she is out in front of me, this is why we didn't talk about this as healing, although she is out in front of me going one direction, and then she gets out ahead of me going the other direction, she is pulling less and less and less as we go. There's, like I say, leash manners. You should be able to explore a little bit at this stage, check things out, but ultimately, when we change directions, to be able to come with us. There you go, good girl. Good, there you go. And stay with us. So as we go back and forth, hello, she's getting, well, I was gonna say she's doing much, much better until that rep where she gets excited. But she's cueing off of my position and continuing to move with us. Just walking back and forth. Now, if we were to continue to walk in a straight line, she would get really good at pulling against us and kind of leaning into that and pulling more and more and more. But as soon as she thinks, oh, we're committed to going that way, we've now changed directions again. Good. Now, think when you are walking, this is another thing that we don't want to pay a ton of attention to. You want to pay a little bit of attention to, but not a ton, okay? If she gets a little bit wrapped up in the leash, it wouldn't happen if she was paying attention to where we're going. So none of this is jerking her off of her feet or pulling really hard or making really sharp corrections on the leash. But if she gets a little tangled in the leash, we're going to kind of keep walking. Good, come on. And then change directions, just back and forth. Good dog, good dog. Now, this is, she felt that little bit of leash pressure that she created, and she thought, okay, maybe we are going the other direction. As we continue to walk back and forth, she's starting to figure out what the game is. Now, as we would, to add difficulty to this, it won't take more than a session or two for her to get pretty good, staying with you, turning with you, figuring out. We can start to shorten this a little bit, which is ultimately going to put us into the category of getting closer and closer to healing work itself. Now, there's even quite a few times through this process that you see a little bit of lack of tension on the leash. That's all a good thing. If you've got a dog that's bared down and is constantly pulling in one direction, then we need to make some additional adjustments. But she's not. Like, she's stopping to check up and come on. She's stopping to check up, which is already showing a really good understanding from a learning some leash manner standpoint. This is a very simple drill, folks, but it's a very powerful one. Good. There you go. Good girl. And that is where we're going to end this session for her. Duel is doing a fantastic job. She's a fun little puppy, and that is what I would call the 180-degree leash drill. She did a good job of showing to begin with. She's all over the place. And as she settled in, she basically figured out we're going to walk from there to there. And if I just kind of stay with him, I can do that almost with a loose leash standpoint. And that is the first step that we would use to build leash manners. Thanks guys for watching. I'm the guy with the pink gun. This is Duel. We will see you in the next video.